Hello and welcome to News Mobile Big Question, our deep dive into the biggest issues at the time of coronavirus. Today we are talking about diplomacy. What is going to be an impact of this virus on diplomacy across the globe? And we have somebody who is an expert in diplomacy. She has been one of India's foremost diplomatic experts and India's former Foreign Secretary Nirupama Rao joining us from Bangalore. Welcome to News Mobile, ma'am. I'll just get straight into questions. I know that you've been busy with a lot of things that are happening at home, and are you taking care of that? Tell me, what does world make out of China's role into all this? Because a lot of people are saying this is China virus. Some of them have been saying it originated from Wuhan in China. What do you make out of that?
What COVID 19 has taught us is that in a globalized world where people are interconnected through travel and technology, every country, every public health network has the responsibility to recognize the warning signals from a new disease or the threat of a possible epidemic and or pandemic. There were critical delays on the Chinese part in informing the world about the emergence of this new disease and a cover-up that has cost humanity dearly as the Wuhan virus spread between early January into February to many nations around the world. China must introspect on this aspect because I believe that a world power like China should have acted with more foresight and responsibility.
What can the global community do to tide over this crisis? Where do you see the role of UN and WHO handling this entire crisis?
I believe we have to act locally and globally to tide over the crisis. We should strengthen our testing capacities to identify those affected by the virus. Secondly, our doctors and our health professionals who work on the front line to treat COVID 19 patients must be provided with all the protective equipment that they need. Thirdly, we have to enforce strict social distancing protocols within the population to control the contagion and spread of the disease. Now, these are universal global principles we must follow across borders. Finally, and most importantly, our scientists and our public health professionals must be provided with the additional resources to research and develop the vaccine to protect human populations against this disease. The World Health Organization obviously has to step up its efforts manifold.
Coming to something which is, you've handled as a foreign secretary, India's role in this entire crisis has been proactive, both under the direction of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar and Foreign Secretary Harsh Shringla, and our Indian missions have done a really amazing job. What more do you think could have been done, and how do we proceed from here?
Over the years, we have developed a good disaster management protocol in the MEA, and this has worked well. Kudos should be given, especially to our national airline, Air India, and our Civil Aviation Administration, who have risen gallantly to the occasion every time such a crisis occurs. They have really put service before self.
How will this crisis change global diplomacy, and specifically in the Indo-Pacific region? What changes do you envisage?
First of all, a non-polar world where a strong, coherent, credible global leader or set of leaders exists is absent. This is truly a non-polar world, and that is the order that we see emerging. We're entering a new phase of world history, and this is the new backdrop to our times. The more immediate need, I believe, is that geopolitics will have to prioritize public health and human security in a manner never done previously. This must be a new level of global cooperation. This has to constitute a new global compact. While defense and military affairs cannot ever be ignored, nor for that matter should we let down our guard against terrorism, but we have to build a more effective and a more efficient early warning global system against disease outbreaks in any part of the world. Individual countries have to invest much more of their GDPs on developing health infrastructure, and the whole system of global supply chains, the impact of such biological threats on livelihoods, the impact on trade in goods and services, and the effect on economic growth, all this needs proper assessment, and crisis management steps need to be conceptualized and activated.
And let's come to India. What challenges do you see for India's foreign policy from here on, and how do you think India can play a role?
When this crisis is over, I think India should take a lead in developing what I call a New Delhi consensus, a universal charter of action to define and to spell out the coordinated action that we need to develop global networks of cooperation to fight threats to global health and human security. Let me add that the strength and credibility of our foreign policy is defined by our governance record, our human development measures, management of diversity, economic development, the ability to deliver on growth targets, internal stability, and visionary leadership. An India that is a shining beacon of the best ideals of a constitutional democracy, constantly translated into action, I believe can be a natural leader in a post-corona world order.
Well, Foreign Secretary Nirupama Rao, thank you so much for talking to News Mobile. And before I let you go, just a small message that you'd like to give to the viewers of News Mobile.
It's been good speaking to News Mobile, and let me urge all viewers to stay safe, be well, and stay indoors. Thank you.
So that was India's former Foreign Secretary Nirupama Rao talking exclusively to News Mobile on the geopolitics post-corona. Do keep staying tuned to News Mobile for our continuing coverage on coronavirus updates and also our fact-check stories. Stay tuned to News Mobile, stay indoors and stay safe.